Svetlana Timofeeva, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting.
Where were you born?
I was born in Russia, in a town named Podolsk. It's located near Moscow. It's a kind of industrial center, one of industrial centers in Moscow region. And I spent my childhood and teenagerhood in this town just as any other teenager and child in Russia.
How old are you and what is your occupation in normal days?
Now I'm 35 years old, and normally my occupation in Russia, at first I was working as a studio photographer, then I started working as a content manager, working with some online shops and websites. On the same time, I was, as my hobby, I was traveling around Russia, making photos, usually making photos of abandoned buildings, and I was running my blog about these places, about history of places I visit, and showing aesthetic part of ruined conditions of industries, of ex-military areas, of some cultural buildings like houses of culture, and everything that we have in Russia since Soviet times. A lot of buildings became just abandoned, and it was my hobby previously, but around last 10 years, I started making not only my blog, but I had several exhibitions. I was giving lectures about history and aesthetics of abandoned places. I started traveling around the world, visited 33 different countries in Europe, in Asia, in post-Soviet countries, almost all of them. And during this activity, my hobby became part of my job because I started earning money by selling prints, by making exhibitions, by publishing photo books. I have published 2 photo books, one in Japan and one in Sweden. And so it was my normal activity, like hobby connected with job, job connected with hobby.
Yeah, so your main area of study were around this expertise you've developed now, or it was something else?
No, I was not studying as a historian or as an architect. At first, I was studying in Moscow Engineering University, and then in Moscow Cinema Filming University as a technologist of filming processes. And so my hobby was just my hobby. I'm not a specialist in history or architecture or Cold War era or anything like this. So it was just things that I enjoy and things that I would like to share with other people.
How long you've been in Albania, and what is your situation here right now?
Until right now, I'm here in Albania for almost 2 years. After 4 months, it will be 2 years directly. And it was my third time when I came to travel around Albania in late summer of 2022. And I came here just, I planned to spend only 5 days here to meet with my friends. My friend, one of them from Russia and another one from Ukraine. Because of the war, none of us was still living in our home countries. So I was living in Georgia and working as a touristic guide there. My Russian friend was living and studying in Czech Republic, and the Ukrainian guy was living in Italy together with his parents and brothers. And we decided just to meet here in Albania because the Russian guy was traveling around the Balkans with his bicycle. And he got bored of traveling alone and invited us to come somewhere and to meet. And on that moment, Albania was visa-free for Russian people. And I just took flights and came here to meet my friends, to explore some ruins and to have fun, to spend time.
So what exactly were the ruins that put you in trouble with authorities?
Exactly, it was a ruined factory, like mechanical factory in Gramsh. Previously, in the Cold War era times, it was a military facility. They were producing, I don't know, weapons, bullets, or some kind of this things. And after the end of communist era here, this factory got mostly totally abandoned. Last time it was used partly more than 10 or 12 years ago. They were using only one building to melt some old weapons, demilitarize, scrap, kind of this. And after this, so it was totally abandoned for 12 years already, until the time when we came there. And when we decided to visit this place, to explore it, we couldn't even know that it was previously a military place. And from outside, it was looking, and I believe it is still looking like a lot of ruined buildings with holes in the roofs, overgrown with some wild bushes. And
so there was no indication that this is a place that you ought not go to because it may be military. It looked abandoned and shabby. That is what you were saying.
Being honest, we didn't come to the main entrance to check if there are any signs of any activity on the territory, because the territory of factory is huge. And from the village, if you come there, if you start just walking by the road, you walk for a long time along the former fence of the territory. You see a lot of holes. You see that it's totally abandoned, overgrown. And like even animals who are herding can enter and exit this area freely. There were no signs, nothing that could tell us that it is still active, that it is still guarded, it has any security. So we just entered to visit the ruins, and no one of us could predict what will happen in the next couple of hours.
I've heard and read several versions of the exact incident, but never in detail. And I am also personally curious, and as I think it's also a broader public curiosity about this. What happened exactly? How did your friend get spooked? How did he come to use the pepper spray, and what was all of that?
Yes, because really for a normal person, for normal people, it's really hard to explain how things usually happen and how things happened on that moment. As I remember, we were walking around the area, walking around the factory, visiting all the buildings one by one. Nothing was locked. They all had like destroyed windows and everything like this. And while we were walking and exploring there, of course, we were taking some photos, because usually we travel to take photos.
That is what you do.
Yes. And not to be in each other's pictures, we were exploring it separately. So we were spending time in different buildings, visiting them one by one. And when we visited almost all of them, in one of the last buildings, probably located in the closest area to the main entrance, where security appeared later, we met, all of us, in one building. And during these minutes, one guy started kind of opening the main gate of this building with a huge noise. And we told him that it's not necessary to make such a noise, especially when we are in this part of area. If there is any watching person, they will hear for sure. And we had this talk, then we separated again. And then I tried to find guys. We separated inside of this workshop, like big building. And later when I tried to find them, I couldn't. I heard someone kind of running outside of the building or shouting something. And I thought, okay, probably someone noticed our presence, and it's better to leave now. And I just exited the building, went again to the fence, found the hole that I entered through, and exited the same way as I entered. And I met no one. And I started going in direction of the car that we parked directly in the village near the factory. And while I was walking, I saw that Fyodor, our Ukrainian friend who was driving the car, he was already near his car. He jumped in it and started driving away fast. And I understood, okay, something happens. And I need to find any way how to contact with my friends, because I didn't have any SIM card here working in Albania. So I needed to ask someone, some locals, for a Wi-Fi. I found some teenagers near kind of clinic, like small building with a doctor inside. Near it, there were some teenagers. I talked to them. They were English speaking. And I asked them to share Wi-Fi with me. They shared. I wrote message to both of my friends, to Michael and to Fyodor, asking them, where are you? How can I find you? Fyodor, why did you drive away? And Michael answered that he is outside of the factory already, and probably security has seen us or heard us. And Fyodor answered that he also thinks that we were noticed, we were followed, probably, and he decided to drive away just to repark the car and to keep himself in a safe distance of events. And I asked him to wait for me somewhere not far from that area, and to meet with him and to come back to pick up Michael, who already was outside of the factory and even wrote us about this. So we were pretty sure at that moment that, okay, probably security has seen us, but
no big deal.
Nothing happened. So we were not caught, we were not detained, captured, and it happens sometimes. Yes. Because such abandoned areas, if they still have something to loot inside, they can be secured. They can have guards who are protecting them just from looting, from, I don't know, some homeless people to start living inside, or from something else. And I met with Fyodor. We again tried to find Michael. Michael was not answering on our messages anymore. And we just started driving in direction of some pizzeria to spend time in it to wait for Michael to find any way how to contact with us, because we were thinking probably his phone had no battery anymore, or because he didn't tell us anything. He just told that I'm outside of factory and looking for you. And we lost connection with Michael. We started driving to pizzeria, and the police stopped our car. They already had like description of suspicious orange car, even its plate number, because they already happened to come to the village, talk to locals. Of course, locals had noticed unusual car.
Suspicious orange car.
Suspicious orange car, yes, they had noticed it previously. They even took some photos of the car from outside because it looks unusual and attractive.
Yes,
especially
it was an orange sports car.
Yes.
So it is really strikingly
and some teenagers
obvious.
Probably made photos near this car. So police already was looking exactly for this car. So they stopped the car. They asked us to wait for a little bit, that there happened a story somewhere here in the village. There were two people having a kind of conflict or some troubles with locals. How they explained us, we said, okay, two people had problems, but we are two people. We don't have any problems. You can see our car is full of touristic stuff. We are just traveling. They said, no, you should wait. Okay, we started waiting, and then they took our phones. They called to another department of police.
When was the moment that you discovered what had happened, and what did they what did your friend tell you exactly in a few words? Maybe?
So we didn't have any connection to Michael until the evening of the next day, because they were keeping us separately, all three of us, and they were interrogating us separately as well. So I couldn't know what was happening to two of them. Also, it happened in the evening of the 20th of August, and all the chefi police, they came only next day in the afternoon, so we were waiting during the whole night, and during the whole morning we were just spending time in police station, somewhere in some random rooms, so not in jail, but in some random rooms. Nobody was giving us permission to have a call. Nobody was explaining for how long should we wait.
How many days did you spend without ever being able to contact a lawyer or whomever else?
This all was happening after. At first, we spent like about 20 hours with nothing. When then police, like higher levels of police came to interrogate us, it happened in the afternoon of next day. They were interrogating me, like 5 or 6 men, asking one by one in English. They didn't present a translator for me. They were making all the writings down in Albanian, the printing, the everything. So they were interrogating me in English and writing down in Albanian. And finally, when they had the result paper, it was totally in Albanian. They told me, sign it, please. And I said, no.
How could you sign it?
I cannot read what is said here. What have you written here? And during the interrogation as well, they were asking me about what happened, how I came to Albania, whom I met, where I stayed, in which hotel, in which hostel, what day, what city I visited, all this. And why I came there to the factory, why I was exploring like military area, and I told them that everything like true, what I'm doing that I have blogs, that I'm traveling around making photos of abandoned buildings. You can see, I can show you, just find my phone you took, and I will show you all the photos, everything I have, everything I visited here. And they just told me it all is bullshit. We don't believe you. You should agree that it will be easier for you if you say us the truth. And your truth is that you are working for some foreign intelligence. And I said, no, I have never been.
So this was the policeman telling you, or it was some other Albanian public agency or authority?
They didn't tell their names. They didn't show their documents.
Were they dressed in police clothing
or not?
They were not
in police clothing.
Okay.
They were looking just like random guys, pretty angry, but they were not fighting with me. They were not touching me. They were not doing anything out of normal rights. They were interrogating me, but they were not believing me when I was telling my story. And when they asked me to sign the paper, I refused to sign the paper that I cannot read. I said that you must provide me with a translator, with normal translator who can read Albanian and translate it into my language, because I'm not sure that my level of English even is not perfect enough to read official documents. Especially I cannot read Albanian. Now I can, after almost 2 years, but on that moment I couldn't.
Now you can read Albanian?
Yes. I can even talk a little bit, but don't try it.
I will not. Another time.
They said, okay, but if you sign it now, you will be free right now. If you will wait for translator, it will take much more time. I said, okay, I have enough time. My back flight is only in 2 days after, so I can wait the translator for 2 days if needed. My translator came in 2 or 3 hours. Even the lawyer came, but it was not private lawyer, it was a kind of state lawyer. So they provided a translator, they provided a state lawyer. State lawyer was just a dummy doing nothing. And the translator started translating me what they wrote down, and it was totally not what I was telling them. It was again about the working for intelligence, about the special purposes that I came to Albania.
So you were admitting that you were working for intelligence agencies.
So they wrote it down. So I was telling
this,
about taking photos of abandoned buildings. They were writing down that I had a special purpose to explore military facilities in Albania and to present this information to some former intelligence, blah, blah, blah. And with the translator, it was a young guy, pretty normal guy, not paranoidal and not connected with police at all. So I asked him, please translate me this bullshit word by word, and we will just correct everything that is not true. And we changed almost all the paper with the translator. Then we asked the police to print it again, corrected version. Then I asked the translator, translate it again, what is printed. We corrected something again, so they reprinted it twice in total. And the third version was okay for me. So I accepted the third version. It was telling the true story that I told, and I signed it. And that's how the story happened about me. And during we were talking with the translator, he asked me, do you know that your friend has used pepper spray against military guy? And on that moment, I got this information. So before, I couldn't know it.
You didn't know
that. And that moment, I realized that probably I will not be able to use my flight in 2 days. Because of this, they told us that now you need to spend like 72 hours in jail before the first court hearing, where they will decide or arrest you or let you free. And okay, we were put to jail. In jail, they put us to separated rooms, like in solitary, small confinements. And there was a police girl watching outside. She was not allowing us to talk, even through the corridor. But sometimes she was leaving somewhere, maybe to smoke or to talk to someone because she was bored. And when she was out, we were able to talk to each other. And I finally asked, where is Michael? Michael is here. Michael.
You were not allowed to talk to each other?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I got this option, finally, it was not allowed still, but I got this option.
Yes.
I asked Michael, are you here? Yes, I'm here. What have you done, Michael? And he explained his story, how he was already walking outside of the factory. He was walking through the village, and some dark car was following him. Some guys jumped out of the car, and without talking to him, without explaining anything, without even trying to find out from if he speaks Albanian or not, from which country he is, who are they, who is he. They were not explaining anything. They just started fighting him and trying to force him to put him inside of the car. And he couldn't
So according to
be
Michael,
sure that they are military men or just local bandits or mafia or drug dealers, or who can they be? Because they were wearing like normal clothes of people living in village. They were not wearing military uniform.
but that's funny because in the press, the Ministry of Interiors, I suppose, or the police, I'm not sure now, but I will check. They showed us photos of two like guys in their 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
That were like this, and their eyes were covered, and they had like it seemed to have military clothes. So if that is the case, that Michael was stopped by a civilian vehicle, or at least civilian-looking vehicle, by two people or more that were in civilian plain clothes and not wearing uniforms, then and out of the facility, that's important. Then it would mean that the persons who got pepper sprayed, they wore their uniforms later, according to this version.
We not long ago, our investigation was finally finished and passed to the court. So we will start having court hearings soon. And finally, we were able to read everything that they accuse us in. And even in the official documents, the guys who were attacking Michael, they describe that they were following him outside of the factory, and they started like keeping him, holding him with their hands and trying to put him into the car. Also, there are words of another guy relative to one of these security guys who transported them to medical facility, and so some relative guy. So probably after this, when they called police, when police came, detained Michael, and finally the soldiers were able to go to polyclinic, they took their clothes, of course, with their relatives. They went to the hospital, and of course, for the journalists, they were again wearing their normal clothes.
So there is, you're saying there is testimony.
How they are suffering.
There is testimony that they were in plain clothes when the incident happened.
In their testimony, there is nothing about their clothes, so they don't tell they were wearing uniform, and they don't tell what they were wearing at all. But they, even they accept that they were following a random guy without knowing who is he, if he was the same that they saw inside of the factory or not. So they started just attacking random person in the village, in the common area, outside of their area of service.
When was the point that you were hit with the charges for espionage? When was that? How many days after you were kept in detention? How many days you spent in detention before being actually confronted with those charges of espionage and related?
We spent 72 more hours after the finish of interrogation, after signing the papers, after the lawyer came and the translator came. So totally we spent 4 full days since the moment of visiting the factory until the first court hearing. And on the same moment I found out that after Michael was detained, at first by these military guys, then by police, then during his interrogation, that guys who were interrogating us, they were not so calm with him as they were with me. They were beating him, they were pressing him, and they made him to tell them what they wanted to know, and they made him to sign the papers without translator, without possibility to change them, without possibility to check them. So the same shit that they were trying to get from me, they got it from Michael just with physical pressing.
So Michael claims that they used physical force. They basically beat him up.
Yes.
To get him to sign a text in Albanian, which he didn't know what was written there.
Yes.
And that is the same text that he allegedly accepts, according to Albanian authorities, that he has connections, or he or all of you, I'm not sure about that, with FSB. Please explain me what is written in the paper that he signed.
In the paper that he signed is written that he was getting tasks from some officer from FSB, from Russia, and this imagined officer was asking him to visit military facilities in Balkan countries and collect photos and other information about condition of military forces of Albania, or a kind of this.
Was there a name of this imaginary officer there, or just an officer?
They even created this imaginary officer. They used, I don't know if they created him or Michael created him from his imagination, but there is used the most common names and surnames in Russia. I don't remember directly.
But it was something like that.
Like Ivan Fedorovich or Ivan Sergeyevich or one of the most popular names in Russia.
Like John Smith in English.
Yeah, like John Smith. And by the way, this interview is not the first one that I'm giving. after I was released from jail. And in some of previous interviews, journalists were just cutting out the part where I was telling the story about interrogation.
Really? Why?
Maybe not to present local police like torturing people and breaking human rights. I don't know how local media works. I don't trust media at all. But I think that making any noise in media is better than sitting silent and waiting for.
You're claiming that
result.
other Albanian media
Yes.
sort of doctored or censored part of your interview,
Yes.
especially when you were talking about him being forced under duress to sign a document he didn't know about.
Yes.
Michael. So
even,
they cut that from the interview.
Yes. Even so, the first noise in mass media that started appearing on the same day when the story happened at the mechanical factory of Gramsci. So in the first articles, local media started presenting our story as for sure Russian Soviet spies spying secrets of Albanian, the most secret active military factory, blah, blah, blah. So, and these first reports, they were just reposted by everyone. Nobody was
doing fact-checking.
Nobody was doing fact-checking, and it spread around not only Albania, but around Europe. It spread out, even appeared in Russian mass media, and even Russian mass media without any fact-checking, without trying to find out who am I, what is my position about political situation, if I support government or I support opposition, or what am I doing totally. Even some Russian opposition mass media started accusing me in espionage for Putin.
Beautiful.
And without any fact-checking. But it is normal. I guess that it's normal condition of nowadays mass media. Everyone is trying to present report as fast as possible, to be the first or among the first who are telling the news, to get reposts, to get more mentions around all the mass media area.
So you heard from the Russian authorities after the opposition media labeled you a Vladimir Putin spy. So what was the reaction from the Vladimir Putin establishment?
As far as I know, when we were detained here, local police and the Ministry of External Affairs made a kind of request into Russia to get explanations about purposes of Russians exploring ex-military areas in Albania. And ours, police, ours, FSB, and the Ministry of External Affairs, they decided to refuse that I am Russian spy. And they decided to choose the most weird way how to refuse it. They started a case against me in Russia.
For what?
After 3 days. So I was detained here, and in 3 days appeared a case in Russia accusing me in mostly the same, closely similar penal article.
Espionage.
Like, not espionage. If you are foreigner, you can make espionage. If you are local, you cannot make espionage because you are local. So we have different penal articles in Russia, and they accused me in illegal access to secret information.
How would you have done that? Or have you seen any material?
I have seen their request of my extradition, because Russian consulate here in Albania or anyone else from Russia, they didn't try to support me. They didn't try to contact me, to visit me in jail or in hospital or somewhere else. The only thing that I got from them was a visit of Albanian prosecutor in February, so half year after, who presented me Russians request from Russia for my extradition. And there I read that I'm accused in getting illegal access to some secret information during exploring something abandoned in 2018 year. So, like 4 years before, I got some secret information. As, of course, they were not sharing what type of information
so
I got.
You're basically being accused in Russia for more or less the same espionage charges that you're being accused in Albania. And I've seen your Instagram account, which has another an art's name, Lena Sator, and I noticed actually you have a pretty decent following. It's like 230K, almost 240K, and
I had more of them.
Before
I was arrested, yes, a lot of people decided to unfollow me. Like
really, how come?
About 14,000 people unfollowed me because they were Russians and they decided not to follow spy. I don't know why.
I understand. So these are photos you made in Albania during your time here?
Yeah.
But these were after that you were left, after you spent your time in detention. How much did you spend in detention or house arrest?
The first court hearing that happened 4 days after the story in Gramsh decided to arrest us, to put us under prison arrest for 3 months. But after it was prolonged for 3 more months and prolonged again for 3 more months. And after 9 months in total, we were released from jails. Me and Fedir, Ukrainian guy, we were released under conditions that we need to visit police station once in a month to check in, to present ourselves that we are still here, that we don't run away and we are waiting for any result. And Michael, who had his pepper spray story, who has his testimony of accepting that he was working for Russian intelligence, he was put under house arrest. And he is still under house arrest, so 11 months passed after we were released from jail, and he is still under house arrest, and I am still visiting police station once in a month.
I want to ask, you told me before when we met that you spent quite a lot of time in the women ward of the prison hospital. And how much time was it, and did you have any health concerns that would justify you spending the time there?
Directly yesterday evening, I got the huge pile of papers describing all the case. It's almost 2,000 pages. And I looked through them, searching for anyone's decision to put me in hospital, because the court decision was only prison arrest. It was only to put all of us, all 3 of us, into jail. So guys were put into men's jail here in Tirana, almost in the city center, and they spent all the 9 months together in the same room, in the same cell, sharing with another arrested persons, both from Albania and from other countries. So they were like changing roommates. And for me, for some reason, my prison arrest was someone's decision to put me into prison hospital as well here in Tirana.
How many days you spent there?
They put me there, and it seemed that they just forgot about me, because I spent there 3 months, almost 3 months, without 4 days, 3 months. And during the first 2 months, I had no permission to use phone. I had no connection with my lawyer, because my friends collected money for me in the end of August, and they hired a private lawyer for me who started working for me since the 1st of September. But he visited me once. He gave his card with his phone number and said that if you need anything, just call me. And he left. And I started asking police who were watching over me there, because I was put in solitary confinement without any cellmates, without any roommates.
You were in solitary confinement for almost 3 months.
At first in hospital, yes. It was not solitary confinement. It was even empty part of the building. So even when I was like walking in some inside yard, I had permission 2 hours every day, like walk around. It was not allowed to anyone else to walk together with me. So
Did you have any health issue?
No.
At least formally?
I have perfect health, and I didn't have any troubles with my health. So I was spending time there. I was trying to get permission to call to my lawyer from police, from direction, and they told me that to use the phone, you need to have a phone card. Where can I get the phone card? You should ask your family or your lawyer. But how can I ask my lawyer
if you don't have a phone
if I
card?
cannot call him? Please, maybe you can call him. No, we cannot, only you. So I was getting no result. Finally, after 2 months, some delegation from some local human rights organization decided to visit me, asking how am I spending my time. And I explained them that I want to call to my lawyer, but I cannot. I don't have any right to talk to anyone. What's going on? Why am I in hospital? For how long I'm going to be in hospital? And they did 2 things for me. They asked the direction of the prison hospital to print me list of my rights, because I didn't have any list. I couldn't know what rights I have.
So
during detention.
you received your list of rights after how many days in
After
detention?
2 months.
After 2 months in detention.
Yes. And the first thing that was said in this list of rights, that the institution, so the prison or the prison hospital, must provide me the right to call to my lawyer and to meet with my lawyer. And when I got this list in English, I asked to talk to direction. I showed them the list. Luckily, the guy was English speaking. And I showed him the list and said that, why I'm not provided with my first right to call to my lawyer. And in just half of an hour, he brought me a phone card.
Really?
From somewhere. I don't know how he managed to get it. He brought me the phone card. I called to my lawyer. I said that please come to visit me. Please bring me phone cards, because I cannot even call you and they don't give me phone without phone cards. And also please do something about me being kept in hospital.
Have you complained to any possible Albanian institution or your international office in Albania about your allegedly trespassed human rights?
Not yet, because before yesterday I had no official papers, because I need any paper like whose decision it was, against whom should I complain.
Do you have them now?
I have the papers now, but they don't tell that there was anyone's wish to put me into hospital. So it was personal decision from the prison system.
What does it mean, personal decision for the prison system?
Someone in the prison system decided to put me in hospital.
Do they have a name for that someone?
I don't know. Because the court, the judge decision was only arrest in Burg.
Yes,
so
and yes.
Prison arrest.
Yes.
And nobody was asking to put me in solitary confinement. Nobody was saying that I am extremely dangerous and I should be separated from anyone. And after my lawyer finally came, we made some complaint paper asking to explain my conditions or to change them for normal girls' jail, because I don't need to spend time in hospital. I am not ill. I am not sick. I am not crazy. And after about 1 month more, so in total I spent 3 months in hospital. After 1 month, the decision was made to transfer me from hospital into girls' jail as well here in Tirana, Alidemi. And again, they put me into solitary confinement there.
Even there?
Even there. They have only one solitary confinement, like special area. It is called like sector of special attention. I don't remember how it sounds. It's
nice.
Sekave in short,
interesting euphemism.
in Albanian. And in this sector of special attention, again, I was not allowed to talk to anyone. I was spending my time alone in my cell and in this small separated area because girls' jail here in Tirana, it has like open air type. So it's not a prison. It's not a normal jail with cells and corridors. It's like open area with some kind of barracks where you are able to spend all day long, and even in the middle of night you can go out from your cell and be outside under the sky. So they put me in solitary confinement again, and I asked my lawyer about what's going on, why again solitary place. And he said that we already made the request and it's our maximum that we could get for your conditions. And at first I believed him, but after 3 more months, like about 2.5, I got tired of being alone because I was watching how the girls are spending time together, how they are playing volleyball, how they are playing domino, how they are gossiping, talking to each other, having fun, and even some of them were able to speak English, and I was allowed only to ask them to.
How did you get out of confinement?
I wrote down a letter in English, and I addressed it to the main director, main chef of Dritoria Burgeve,
yes, the prison system
of Albania, and I sent the letter, and after 2 or 3 weeks after I sent it, by post, by normal paper post, some guy came, probably it was the director, I don't know his name, he didn't present himself as well. He came to my solitary cell and he said, Svetlana, how are you? If you want to go to common conditions, we will manage it right now in half an hour and you will be together with other girls. But you must know that your previous condition was a kind of VIP for you.
Oh.
And it was his words. It were his words. He was the person who decided to put me in VIP in hospital first and then in this voliere for special
So the conditions in hospital, were they really better than the ones in your solitary confinement in prison?
It depends. So in some options they were better because, for example, cleaning lady came every day to clean my room. And I was able to use shower every day, even twice a day. So it was better that I was able to use shower twice a day, and the cleaning lady came every day to
What about the psychological toll? The psychological effects of being alone in a hospital ward and then having to spend isolation in a prison ward. You've been basically alone for months and months and months and months.
I hope that it didn't make me crazy. I was just spending time with myself, thinking, trying to learn something new, because when I got access to the phone, when I started calling to my lawyer, I asked him to ask my friends to provide me with some books to read, with some study books to learn Albanian, to be able to understand what's going around me. And when I got books to study, things started going faster, and even being alone was not so terrible. But of course, especially in girls' jail, while I was still in sector of attention, of increased attention, I was watching the girls out, and I was feeling kind of jealous for their conditions because they were like in a summer camp.
As compared to you?
Yes, compared to me. And when they changed my conditions for the common, for the last 3 months, this 3 months went much faster, really. And,
I have another question. Now that you have the around 2,000 pages documents from the prosecution office, do you finally know what it is about? You have more clarity.
I finally know that they analyzed all our digital devices. They were trying their best to find anything secret there, anything that can be described as collecting secret information with the purpose of providing it to foreign power to break the independence of Albania. By the way, it's translation of the article, the penal case that we have, like 214. And
what is it about?
The article, the penal article of your penal code.
Yes, but what does it say?
It sounds like collecting secret military information with the purpose of presenting it to foreign intelligence service with the purpose to break the independence of Albania, of the state.
Whoa. But it sounds similar to the Russian one you just told me.
It is not similar, but wording. Yes, so it is for foreigners. So this article is for foreigners.
The Russian one is for locals, for Russian citizens. So they are officially charging you now. They are officially charging you for basically, in simple terms, espionage.
Yes, they are charging. They are still accusing us, but in all these papers that I looked through, they didn't present anything that is proven objective part of the crime. Because any crime that happened, if to make it happen, you must found like not subjective part, but objective, that there was some secret information.
So you didn't see, in your own opinion, you didn't notice there any evidence, any hard evidence?
No, there is even a request and answer from the General Stab of Ministry of Defense here in Albania. So the request of police to explain the status of this factory, if it is still military, active, secret, or a kind of this, and the answer of Minister of Defense that the factory is not active, is not military, is not secret, and is not working for many years.
So what did you spy if the factory is not active, is not military, is not secret, and it hasn't been working for many years?
I was spying artifacts of Cold War era, probably. And there is also subjective opinion of the prosecutor that our photos have no historical, cultural, and artistic meaning.
Really?
Yes.
Who judged that?
The prosecutor.
The prosecutor.
Sharing his private opinion about our photos, that they don't look artistic enough for him.
Did he present any, since he decided this is his own, or did he ask a particular expert on this one?
I think it's his private opinion, because there is no conclusion of any expert. But I believe that...
Did he present also any credentials that would make him, provide him with some expertise in judging whether do they have aesthetical meaning or not, your photographs?
I don't know. I think we will request for this expertise during the court hearings.
It's important, maybe. So if it is his own opinion, then he should provide that he has some agency, some level of expertise in judging that. So I don't want to keep you even more, as you told me, but something important I need to ask is that now, what do you expect to happen?
Now, really, I am still hoping that during the court hearings, the judge, at least the judge, will accept that all this crime story is a piece of bullshit, so it has no clue, it has no objective part, it has no ground under it. And of course, I hope that they will cancel all the accusation, cancel all the charges, and at least they will say, like, we are sorry for making this. But I don't know how local justice works, how local judges work, how local juridical sphere is working. Maybe it's not necessary to have objective part of a crime. Maybe it's enough to have only the testimony of a guy pressed to sign papers where he accepts that he is spying for Russian intelligence.
Well, that would make us Russia, then, wouldn't it?
Yes.
If it would behave like that.
Probably it will.
But will it? Do you think that this would have taken to this lengths if you were not Russian and Ukrainian citizens, and if there was not the situation it is now with the war in Ukraine that's going on, and with a renewed conceptual Iron Curtain falling yet again over Europe, and even talks of a third world war looming in the horizon? Do you think that without these conditions you will be held here in Albania and being charged with espionage?
I'm pretty sure that if I had not Russian but some European passport, this all would not happen. And I even have a kind of ground under this opinion, because as far as you could find in mass media, the next day after ours detention at Gramsh happened a pretty similar story in Polichan. There is also abandoned military factory, and there was also a group of urban explorers, but they were from Czech Republic. They had European passports, and so their case was started. They were detained for 3 days only, and the judge decision was not to put them under jail arrest and let them go. But anyway, their case was started, and the investigation was finished in December, so 3 months before ours. And their prosecutor, some smart guy from Berat, made their papers not to pass the case to the court, to close the investigation, because there is no objective part in their crime. Because he even explains what were their purposes, that they are urban explorers, that it's a kind of international community of men and women exploring ruins, making photos to share them with each other, to show the aesthetics, and to increase respects among the community, a kind of this. So their prosecutor is smart enough to accept that they were detained mistakenly, they were not spying any secrets, the factory is not working, it's abandoned, it's not military anymore. They are not criminals, and that's it. So now they need only come here and get back their devices after the expertise.
A last question before you leave is that you actually have to run to go and check for a new place to rent, you told me. And what is about your condition in terms of, can you work in Albania? Do you have the proper documents? Because of course you cannot leave, we know that. But what are you mentioned some of these troubles to me before coming here in this interview. And how is the situation with that?
The situation is pretty bad, because my documents, all of my documents except my driver's license, they are still held by police. They didn't provide me with any temporary papers giving permission to work here, to use any public services, even to use money transfer or bank services here. And they don't care about how I provide my living here. And I'm just using my savings from previous life, probably my savings for retirement. I don't have any other unlimited source of money to provide my living here in Albania without job, and I cannot work here illegally because it will be another crime. And I am just living here, renting an apartment. And by the way, now I'm looking for a cheaper option, because here in Tirana we were renting pretty expensive apartment, because we needed to find it fast after we were released to place our home arrested friend.
I see.
And we got agreement with the owner for 1 year, so we needed to live the whole year in this apartment. And now I'm looking for another one, smaller, cheaper, and probably not in Tirana, because I'm really tired of this city. It's very small comparing to cities in Russia, and it seems to me that it is even smaller than my hometown, where I spent my childhood, and I was dreaming about leaving it and going to live in some bigger megapolis in Moscow. And here I was living for almost 11 months now in Tirana. Really, I like Albania, I like Tirana, and I wish everything good to this state and this city. But I'm tired of living in the same place all the time. So now I plan to start renting an apartment in Durrës near the seaside because it's summer, it's beach season. And
good luck with that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best of luck with your case, and I hope this painful process ends up soon and justice prevails, and so that you can finally breathe, you and your friends.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.